Uh, whoop. Uh-oh. Just want to make sure we're in good shape here for the stream. Looks like it. I saw some stutters, but what's up, everybody? Welcome to the Autoblog live stream. My name's Eric. I am the multimedia producer here at Autoblog.com, and today, in a bit, I will be joined by Autoblog news editor Joel Stocksdale, and we are just doing some WRC 10 yet again. It is going to be a good time. Hopefully, I'll do a little better today than I did last week. Yeah, good stuff. All right. How am I still level 1? Oh, this is kind of cool. I think I missed this the last couple times. Yeah. Might do a little in the 50th anniversary mode today. It is hard to overstate how much better this menu system is from the last couple of WRC games. This is a big improvement. Yeah, let's start the 50th anniversary event, I guess. This is going to be a tough one. I can only assume. Man, it is really looking pretty jittery here. Make sure jittery on the stream, I should say. We can hopefully make that a little better. Is there...
Five,
I didn't change
4,
anything, but...
3, 2, 1, go. 30, left 4, short 50, right 6, tightens, into right left 6, brake. Into left 3.
Yeah, this looks terrible on stream. My fault. I am really unsure why. Hey, thank you. I'm unsure how to pronounce your name, but just got that comment from YouTube. Thanks. Says, hey, keep it up with the good videos. You're always the first to inform me about upcoming cars. That is great. I'm glad to hear it. Alright, I'm gonna try to turn off VSync and see if this does anything
Right 3, definitely don't cut. 30.
at all. Definitely don't cut on that one, he says.
Left 4, brake, tightens 3, medium, into left right 4. And left 3, keep in, don't cut, into 2, cut. And left 3, tightens into right 4. And left 3, tightens, don't cut.
Sorry, I'm
Right
not
4,
really,
don't cut. 30.
I'm trying to figure out why the stream looks so bad. I don't think it was like this the other day. I wish I knew what some of this, like, meant. But I don't. The water quality medium. Route density medium. Terrain quality high. Maybe that will make things a little better. Articles don't need to be very high. Shadows don't need to be very high. Next time you launch a level, let's go ahead and launch one up. See if we can get this looking good before we really dive in. Yeah, the health of the stream looks pretty good on my end, so I'm not sure why it's looking weird. Let's go for literally anything here.
Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's go. Caution, left 150. Right 4, tightens, 50. Caution, right 2, medium, tightens, junction,
Wow,
50.
I have absolutely no clue why the frame rate is abysmal on stream.
Left 5, 50.
I don't get it. I didn't
Left
change
4,
anything.
tightens, keep into right 5. Flat left into right 4, widens, 50.
That is really, really frustrating. I don't get how's the frame rate on this. Looks fine. Or restart the game. I don't know if that's going to have any effect at all. We will find out. hope that works.
Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's go. Caution left 150. Right 4 tightens 50. Caution right 2 medium tightens junction 50.
Well, this is absurdly frustrating, and I apologize for anyone watching. I have absolutely no clue
Left 550.
why it looks so bad.
Left 4 tightens, keep into right 5.
That is
Flat left into right 4, widens
so
50.
annoying, though. I feel like it's always has to do with the V-Sync. Which is on. I don't even know what that is. So it says refresh rate is set at 23? Why, though? I am very confused by this. Those, I mean, that's my screen. Sure, save those video settings. I wonder if this will make a difference? Let's find out. Play.
Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. Go. Caution left 150.
Well, this definitely looks better on my end.
Let's
Whoops.
get back on the track.
And
Right 4
so
tightens 50.
much worse on the stream. Why? Why? Why?
Caution right 2 medium tightens junction 50.
Why? How is there no, like, 30? I don't...
Left 550. Left 4 tightens, keep into right 5.
That's obviously didn't do anything to help.
Flat left into right 4, widens 50.
Oh! Okay.
Caution, hard brake, square
Good
right,
stuff.
square
I
left,
think...
30.
Oh, but now it, like, feels real weird. I don't know if that's just my imagination.
Over tarmac, caution, square right, into right 4, shortcut.
But it does look a lot better, so that's good news. For you guys,
Into
at
left
least.
4, opens over bump, 80.
I really wish I knew what the deal was there.
Left 3, 150. Right 1, cut, 80.
It does feel really weird for me, though, now. What if we did 50?
Hey. Left 2, opens, into left 3, opens. Into left 4, short, over crest.
This
30.
feels slightly better on my end. It doesn't look
Caution, left, right 2,
good on
over
the
gravel,
screen, though.
right 2, tightens, bail in, 200.
I feel like, isn't this what VSync is for? Like...
Flat right, 100.
Yeah, this isn't... We can't do that. It just looks like crap. Why not? Well, might as well try all of them. Oh! Yeah, that looks terrible again, so... I really wish I understood why 30 wasn't an option. I feel like 30 frames per second is very common. And it is unfortunately not an option. Did I pick the wrong... I wonder if I picked the wrong thing. Okay, let's see how this goes.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We're off. Caution, left 150. Right 4, tightens, 50.
Oh,
Ah, oops, not the right route.
okay, this looks okay on stream.
Caution, right 2, medium, tightens, junction, 50.
And it feels okay. Okay, so now, so I wonder if I was just at the wrong... Let's see if we can get away with 60.
Left 5, 50.
Because this feels a lot... Not
Left
sure.
4, tightens, keep into right 5.
This... we cannot get away with 60. Well, that's super unfortunate. Because this is way, way easier on me. I mean, no question, night and day.
Yeah.
Man, frame rates really do make a huge difference. It's like I have trouble even really like visualizing exactly how, like what they are, but I can definitely like feel them. That's so strange. All right, Joel is trying to get in. See, I have to Find the link. Hopefully this one will still work. That one does not work, so give me a second, everyone. I have to get a new one. All right. There we go. Alright, Joel has his Discord invite. I could have just right-clicked and invited him. Probably would have been easier. But that would require me thinking.
Oh.
Hello!
Hey. Hey.
Yo! What is up?
Not much. It's been a weirdly slow day today.
Oh, interesting. I feel like it's been flying by for me. Except for the stream, which has been very slow because I've been wrestling with frame rate issues the whole stream. I think I got it figured out, but unfortunately now, for some reason, it has to be exactly on 30 frames per second refresh rates for the stream to not look terrible, which is okay, but this game gets exponentially harder with the less frames you have to work with.
Yeah. You know, that actually brings me to something that I was thinking about the other day.
Oh yeah.
Hard brake, square right.
And actually, I even had like a short Twitter poll on it. I didn't get a whole lot of responses. But
Tarmac, caution, square
I
right
was.
into right
Oh,
four.
actually, wait a minute. So you can recognize when you have good or bad frame rates.
So I was just talking about that actually. So I can't on the stream. It's very apparent because it's for some reason it's different than it is on my screen. So on the stream, if there's, I don't think it's a bad frame rate. It's like a mismatch where, because I'm streaming at 30 frames per second, but I thought that's what VSync did, was like fixed that, but I guess not. But anyways, long story short is the reason I noticed it is because it was looking terrible on stream. Normally when that happens, I just turn on VSync and it's fine. But on my end, between 60 and 30, I notice zero difference visually. What I notice though is how it is the feel like in the controller. It's just like seems to be more responsive. I might be describing that poorly, but it's like it seems like the response time in 60 is so much infinitely better than the response time in 30. But like weirdly visually, I swear to you on my life, I could not tell you the difference just like watching it. But anyways, what was your Twitter poll?
Because like with my PS4, it was kind of the first system that I had that there were a few games that actually had some graphical setting stuff that you could change to either prioritize like texture resolution and stuff versus frame rate. And well, and so that was kind of really the first time that I've really occasionally, if I was hanging out with a friend or something and he was playing like a game on PC or something, occasionally I'd be like, oh wow, this runs so smoothly. But I never really thought that much about it when I was playing a game on a console. It's just like, well,
Yeah.
it either runs this way or it doesn't run this way.
Right,
So
it just
not
is what
really
it
any
is.
Option. But in a lot of these games that I've tried out the high frame rate versions, and I've found that I really greatly prefer the high frame rate versus slightly better graphics.
Interesting. I know you're definitely not alone in that.
Mm-hmm. And it's one of these things where, like, I actually almost feel like the game looks better when it's running at a good frame rate than if it has the technically, like, better textures and resolution and stuff.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, I can't. So, yeah, I just don't. My brain just isn't equipped. So, like, here, I'll. Do you have the stream up, perchance?
Not yet. I think I've got like a gajillion tabs open, so I don't want to like mess up my my bandwidth and memory too much.
Yeah.
Let me close out a couple things and I'll get the stream up.
All right.
But
yeah, because it's such a weird.
I
wish I could eyeball it, but
because that was actually one of the things. Well, I mean, it also helped that I've only got a 1080p TV, so it wasn't like
true.
a big deal
True.
when I played. Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart has some graphics settings that you can pick from, and I picked the one that kept ray tracing on, but was running at like 1080p instead of like even higher resolution. And I didn't feel like I missed out on anything, and if anything, I think I might have even gone that route even if I had like a higher resolution TV, because I was like, I really, really like how smooth this looks. Like, it's just, it looks like real.
Yeah. Yeah, that is so wild. Like, even just now in 30, it's like there's a delay. There's like a very perceptible delay. Input delay on my controller, and it was unbearable so for some reason this game lets you set it to 23 and 24. I'm not sure why, but those, I mean, that was impossible to play on. But it all looks kind of the same on my end, but not on the stream end. So I don't get it at all. I did just have one other thought though. Let me try. So the resolution is set to my actual television size, but maybe I will set the resolution to 1920 by 1080. See if I can get away with 60 frames. But I bet this looks really bad on stream. It doesn't! It looks fine! Awesome. Oh, that's great. That's so good. I would do anything to just be Matrix injected with all of the knowledge of how streaming works. Because I don't have... Every time I think I have a handle on it, the universe just decides to remind me that I have literally no clue. What's up, Bjorkley? And also I see One-Eyed Ghoul. Welcome. How are you guys doing? I'm gonna do... half an hour into the stream, I'm gonna do my first serious race finally. So we got it looking okay. I would say we got it looking good even. A little better than okay, which was my goal. So that is good. But Joel, while I am doing this, I would love to talk to you about the PlayStation Showcase that happened last week. And all of the exciting news that dropped during that. Because there was a lot. There was a lot. But But mostly, I know you did a fair amount of looking into Gran Turismo 7. I'm curious because I have not played a Gran Turismo game in a long, long time. Not for any malicious reason. I just haven't owned a PlayStation. But like, what looks most exciting about this new Gran Turismo to you? Would you say?
Well, what I'm most excited about is that it's like getting back to kind of the core of what Gran Turismo has been for so long, because GT Sport was kind of a thinned, well, it was a streamlined and more like online multiplayer focused version of Gran Turismo. It still had a lot of kind of the basic stuff, but it was clear that kind of they wanted to try to focus more on kind of competitive multiplayer. I think they've actually done a pretty good job of that. They've got a pretty solid online system and things, but it kind of came at the expense of lots of offline single-player events and kind of a smaller car list.
Yeah, that's suffered from Call of Duty syndrome, it seems.
A little bit of what?
A little bit of Call of Duty syndrome. Just
a
put
little bit, yeah.
all the focus on the multiplayer.
And
which isn't necessarily a bad thing, depending on the kind of, what you're looking for, but...
Right, and it still played well.
Yeah.
It looked fantastic. And honestly, one of the great things about it that is kind of surprising in a lot of ways was that they kind of just kept this supply of free downloadable content for it. They added more tracks, they added more cars.
Nice.
Continuously kept like online events refreshed and updated. They gave it really good support. And it was one of the things that kind of helped keep me coming back, because I was like, oh, I can try out these new tracks and these new cars, and it doesn't cost me a penny.
Yeah. Did that game have any kind of microtransactions? Like, how did they continue making money? There must be a way.
So they did eventually implement a system where you could spend real money to buy some cars.
Gotcha.
But it's really not necessary to play the game.
Gotcha. That's good.
And be competitive in it. Although there have been a couple of cars that I've been very tempted to actually spend money to go ahead and get a hold of.
Yeah.
I've struggled to get to beat one of the single-player championships. That you have to use a vintage race car, and they're so expensive, and you like almost never seem to get them as prize cars. So I've done my best with some of the cheaper ones, modifying them as far as I can. But
oh yeah.
I've come close, but just
not quite the same.
And it requires a lot of work, and I think somebody that's a better driver than me could probably do it, and would probably be better at earning the money to buy the cars anyway.
Yeah.
But, well, I mean, even like modifying cars in the game was super simplified to basically, you just had to like unlock modification levels with XP as opposed to like buying individual parts and stuff.
Gotcha.
So that was also made a little less in-depth. But a lot of that is changing with GT7. It's going back to kind of a very in-depth single-player mode. Loads and loads of cars, lots of tracks, lots of events. Much more in-depth car modification. Basically, it's... well, I mean, it sounds like it will be deserving of the actual Gran Turismo 7 label.
That's good.
Because that's the thing, like, because Gran Turismo Sport was, gosh, at this point, the only Gran Turismo game that launched on PlayStation 4, and a lot of people were kind of hoping and expecting a GT7, but
yeah,
it was this more multiplayer focused thing, and clearly they knew that it was going to be something different, so that it was called Gran Turismo Sport.
Is GT Sport, is there also a GT6, or was GT Sport GT6?
GT6 came out on PlayStation 3,
okay,
like right at the end, kind of like right at the end of the PlayStation 3 life cycle.
Wow, okay.
And then GT7 will come out on both PlayStation 5 and PlayStation 4.
No, yeah, that probably makes sense. Considering how difficult it is to get a PS5. Still.
Right. It'll be interesting to see how that goes. I mean...
Yeah, in terms of, you know, I hope they're not cyberpunking themselves.
I don't think they are, and especially because they only have to worry about the Sony hardware.
Totally. And they probably have any access they need to make sure that it's gonna work. But I can definitely see, you know, I'm sure, I haven't seen this personally, but I know it's out there. I'm sure that some people are disappointing, like, meh, I wanted it to be true next gen. Part of me is like, yeah, that's fair, I guess, but also, it's like, it's so hard to be next gen still, and will be for the next year. Like, this chip shortage is not miraculously stopping anytime soon, by all accounts. So, it's gonna continue to be not easy. Maybe it won't be as difficult as it has been to get a PS5, but probably won't be easy.
Yeah. And, like, I'll be totally honest. Like, I still play Gran Turismo Sport, and I really don't, like, I still think it's a really, really good-looking game.
Yeah.
And, like, I don't even necessarily have a huge desire for something that looks a whole lot better than that. Like, I feel like it looks really, really, really good.
Yeah.
And, like, I probably would have been happy with just a GT7 basically built off of GT Sport.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
And I probably would have been really happy.
At some points, I feel like, and look, what I'm about to say will undoubtedly age very poorly, but I'm gonna say it anyways. But, like, at some point you would think, we've got to be nearing the top end of graphical fidelity for video games. Which I know, I'm already sure that that's stupid to say. But, like, you're right. I mean, you're so right. It's like, stuff looks so good already. It's like, how much better... Is it worth all the time and effort to get it looking 1% better when it could just look the same, but the gameplay could be better? Like...
Well, and then that also gets into the part of, like, yes, you can keep pushing that level of fidelity and stuff on the hardware end, but can you actually utilize all of that?
Right.
Just in sheer manpower and hours put in.
Right. Yeah, it's like, do you want to literally kill your dev team to make this happen?
Exactly. And we've all seen the stories about how that is kind of what's happening.
Yep.
Budgets are ballooning, and crunch is dangerously omnipresent.
Yep.
And it is kind of one of those things where it's like, you can, but can you do it in a way that, like, doesn't, I don't know, take 10 years to try and actually finish it?
Right. Or is
responsibly.
Right. Or is it just going to be a thing where consumers are just going to have to make peace with the fact that if that's what we want, it's gonna take 10 years. Like, we're not gonna be able to get these. Or maybe, now that I say that, I think maybe a realistic model they could switch to is just like build one great game every 10 years and then just build essentially full quote-unquote games off of that game as like DLC while you're working on the next one for the next 10 years. Which I guess is kind of like what GTA 5's doing, but like do it better than GTA 5. But
well, and I think actually Polyphony Digital kind of ran into that issue on the PlayStation 3. Because I think they were a relatively small studio. Especially like leaving PlayStation 2 and going to PlayStation 3, and all of a sudden they can, like, because that generation jump was a pretty huge one.
Yes, yes, it was.
And I think it was kind of like their eyes were bigger than their stomachs when it came to like what they thought they could do.
That makes sense.
At least with how they had been doing things. Because this was the period of time where, so they had a GT HD demo that came out on PS3. Had only like 2 or 3 cars, and like a track or 2. And it gave a preview of what they could do. And then GT5 Prologue came out, which had a whole bunch more cars and more tracks. And it was again kind of a taste of like what they could do. And when GT5 eventually came out, it still had a gigantic car list, but only a portion of those cars had like a full HD high polygon model.
Oh,
and a whole bunch of the
really?
Others,
weird.
Yeah, and then a whole bunch of the others had just sort of polished up PlayStation 2 models.
Very interesting solution.
It didn't go over great.
Yeah, that's that is weird.
But I think they were dealing with, well, and actually, as MD Productions also points out, the PlayStation 3 was also kind of a pain in the butt to develop for, because it's just built weird.
Yeah, I've heard that. I don't know any of the details, but that's ringing a bell that was a thing in the industry.
And yes, as I'm so sorry, I don't know how to pronounce your name. Constantinity. I'm sorry. I'm trying.
Constant Identity, maybe? Constant Identity, I believe.
Oh, that's probably it. Yeah, Constant Identity. So, yeah, one of the issues was also that they didn't have that. All those cars just had like a black silhouetted interior.
Oh yeah.
Car view. But also the exterior models were not fully updated either.
That is so wild.
So, now, don't get me wrong, I still enjoyed the game, but it definitely felt like, what is all this?
Yeah, like I'm assuming it would feel slightly unfinished in that way.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Which
that
is
was
never a
actually
good
something
feeling.
that kind of continued along into GT6 too. But I think it was kind of a case of they needed to sort of kind of reprioritize and rethink how they do things. I know that I've read somewhere, and it probably was a GT Planet post, something about Polyphony Digital actually, for like the first time with GT Sport, having some outside development houses do some of the car modeling and things to help kind of
lighten the
their
load
internally, which I think was a very smart thing because it is kind of one of those things where like, I don't know, you have to decide on like how much you can do and be willing to trust others to be able to deliver that, to deliver on other things that you just don't have time for.
Right.
And I mean, in GT Sport, everything looks fantastic, so clearly they've picked out some good teams to help them out with.
Yeah, they figured it out. Man, I am so mad at my performance the last 20 seconds in this I was crushing it, and then I drove off the mountain and then killed like 10 people. Unfortunately,
that is the most painful thing about stage rally racing games is like things are going great, and then one thing happens and just destroys everything.
Yep.
It's just so frustrating.
Oh, you did not complete the objective. Unfortunate. But before we continue this, let me just catch up on the chat here. Bjorkley says, "Remember the first time we met? I think it was during Rocket League, right, Bjorkley?" John's here eating sand. What's up, John? MD Productions giving Polyphony their props. Always pushing the console to the extreme. Yeah, good stuff.
Yeah, and as MD Productions points out, like GT5 and GT6 had outrageous car counts.
Wow.
But that was also basically because they ported a bunch of their cars and models from GT4 and kind of polished them up a little bit. And a lot of those were, like, special editions of, like, the same car. There's, like...
yeah.
There were probably, like, 6 or 7 different first-generation Miata special editions and, like, regional badges. And then, like, the long-running joke is that there's, like, 200 different Skylines. Constant Identity said 700. But I'm hoping that I think Polyphony Digital has had enough time to do a little bit of soul searching, kind of rethinking of how they do things. That I'm pretty optimistic about GT7 coming out, and even like between PS4 and PS5, like which versions will be playable and stuff. I'm imagining that the PS4 version will probably be pretty solid, just because they have plenty of experience working on PS5.
Yeah.
At least I hope. I mean, it could also be that they were working on the PS5 version and have suddenly been told, "Hey, you need to make this playable on PS4."
Yeah. Oh, yikes.
And I guess we'll see. I mean, hopefully it's a case of like they just kind of drop the resolution down a little bit on some things and maybe like
scale back the draw distance a little bit and stuff like that.
Yeah, maybe like drop HDR and ray tracing and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, there's no need for ray tracing on a PS4 ever for any reason, especially if you're worried about your game running correctly. I feel like ray tracing's amazing, but like I feel like the technology is more amazing than the result, if that makes sense. Like developers are so good making fake shadows now. Like none of this is ray traced, I'm sure, and it looks fine.
Yeah, because like going back to Ratchet & Clank, for instance, like I did switch it to the non-ray tracing settings for a little bit.
Yeah.
It still looked really, really good.
Yeah, right.
And I mean, having ray tracing on was nice, and like it was my preference, but like that is actually one of those things where if I have the choice between like running at 30 frames a second with ray tracing on or 60 frames a second with it off, I'll switch it off.
Yeah.
Because I don't think it's that critical.
Yeah, I agree.
I do remember a time when like switching your graphics settings way low on a lot of video games like made it look like complete and utter garbage.
Yeah, like Roblox.
Yeah, but I feel like we're not in that. I feel like that's not entirely the case anymore.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like the last high-profile game that was the case for was like PUBG, and even that by now, what's like 5 years old, 6 years old. It doesn't feel that old in my heart, but but it is.
And like you said, I mean, like doing kind of faked lighting and shadows in video games, people got really, really good at it.
Yeah.
Even going back and playing older games like the first BioShock, like it's got some pretty wicked lighting stuff in it, and it doesn't have any kind of fancy stuff. It's all
right.
It's all like faked staged lighting.
Yeah, it's just designed
it
that way.
Really cool.
Yeah, the only thing, it's not even a game, it's one scene in Cyberpunk 2077 where I really like, and I was like looking for, I was like, okay, I'm gonna turn on ray tracing, and I'm gonna like really try to appreciate this, and it was really incredible. It was like a room with like, it was like a lot of ambient like pinkish lighting, and there were like mirrors everywhere, and it really was incredible. Like, it really was, but like it wasn't so incredible that I would notice it wasn't there if I had never seen it that way. So yeah, I don't know. I feel like ray tracing just has a really good marketing department. That'd be great if just the concept of ray tracing had its own marketing department.
Well, and it's like it's real, but like the benefit, we're reaching that point in graphics where we're getting diminishing returns.
Yes,
it's like,
yes, 100%.
Especially, well, I guess this might be one of the things that, well, and maybe this is partly why I feel like with GT Sport, I feel like I don't necessarily need that much more fidelity in it. Oh wait, no, Dirt 5. I was playing Dirt 5 recently.
Yeah.
I added it to my PlayStation 5, and I wanted to see kind of like graphical improvements and stuff, and it did improve. The high fidelity version does run smoother than it did on my PS4, but then the high frame rate graphics setting is like extra silky smooth, so I still go with that. But anyway,
oh my god. Sorry, I came within inches of killing the same people I killed last time.
But the thing that I was realizing, there's a lot of really cool graphical stuff that they do in Dirt 5 with the environments and lighting and things, especially like particle effects. Those are a big thing in it.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I realized that a lot of the fancy graphical stuff that was going on everywhere, it just all kind of was kind of a crazy mess of a blur while I was actually like playing the game, because it's like, well, I'm racing, I need to concentrate on where I'm going, and like there's all of this crazy stuff going on in the background. It's like I can't, like, the only way I could actually stop and appreciate all of it is if I actually stopped and appreciated.
Right. Which, like, you could do, but what is the point? Nobody's buying a racing game for that purpose. I would hope. If you are, you got some issues.
Mm-hmm. I was like, this is all really nice stuff. Like, there's crazy like rave like lighting and like powder paint explosions going off, and it's like, oh wow, this is all really cool. It's like, but if I try and look at all that, I'm going to lose.
Right. Yeah, like Constant Identity just said, yeah, look at all that pretty dirt. Like, exactly.
And so it's kind of one of those things where it's like we've reached that point where we can make a lot of this really cool detail stuff look really amazing. However, the amount that it really adds to the experience could be kind of questionable, because to actually notice it will require you to stop playing the game and just look at like all of these little detail things.
Right. I will say I think Constant Identity was mostly joking here, but I do actually think that's a fair point of maybe it's for the replays, meaning like maybe it's for like the streams and the replays, like because you can't as easily communicate how a game feels visually as you can like look how amazing this looks, and then So that actually is a fair point that I was not appropriately considering, but I still think our points stand for sure.
Yeah, well, and like you still want to make the environments look nice. And
Yeah,
still
of course,
have some
of course.
Stuff, because there'll be times that like either you're like way in the lead or something, and you'll be like, oh, that's really cool stuff, or like, if you are like watching the replays and things. But yeah, I do feel like sometimes it's kind of like, maybe these resources could have been better used elsewhere.
Yes.
5, 4, 3, 2.
Yeah, almost always that is the case, I would guess. Oh man, we're on an icy mountain this time.
Into left 4, narrows 30.
So how did you see the G-force leaks by any chance, Joel? Where it was leaked that initially the leak, basically it showed that GeForce Nexus or something, I don't really know what it is, but GeForce is like the software that you use on PC that works with your graphics card, and you can use it to clip things and things like that. But supposedly in their database they had listed God of War, not the new one, but the PS4 God of War, and then a couple other Demon Souls and one other PS5 exclusive. It said those were coming to PC, but then GeForce actually came out and addressed that leak and said, look, like the leaks are real, but these are just reference games, like these aren't necessarily coming to PC. But I feel like that they have to say that. So that would be so exciting. I would love to play God of War on the PC. I would love it. And I would love it even more if Sony made their thing, like, I am so happy for them to be like, look, 2-3 years PS exclusive, then we're putting it on PC. That's fine. Whatever. I just want the ability to play some of their amazing, amazing exclusives at some point in my life. I feel like that would be such a cool thing to do.
I think I could be okay with that, because like I totally get exclusives can kind of suck.
Yeah.
I know that I'm definitely in that nervous camp about Microsoft having picked up Bethesda.
Yeah, yeah.
Because it's like, one day when they finally do Fallout 5, I want to be able to play it on my PlayStation 5.
Right, exactly.
And like, if they do any more Wolfenstein games, which I adore, I want to be able to play it on the system of my choosing.
Right.
But at the same time, it's one of these things where like a lot of the first and second party studios create some of the best stuff.
Right.
I mean, just look at Nintendo, Mr. Nintendo fanboy.
Yeah. No. Yeah. Yeah. It's like I give them, for some reason, just like instinctively I give them a pass, but like logically, you're right. They're in the same boat. Like I just don't like exclusives in any sense. And while it would be beyond weird to play a Mario game on an Xbox or a PlayStation, I think it would be better for the gaming community as a whole if that were the case.
Because it's one of those things where like those studios can focus on just that hardware.
Yep.
And make sure it's like optimized well and looks really nice. And I mean, they have the resources then from the hardware developer to be able to just make sure it's as good as it can be, as opposed to dealing with the whims of the third-party publisher that's like, this has to come out at such and such a time to meet our annual revenue requirements and stuff.
Ugh. Yep. Indeed.
Constant Identity does make a good point that with Nintendo, having their exclusives is how they shift their hardware, and they don't have any other like revenue streams except their games and systems.
Oh yeah, that's a very good point, because Sony has several and so does Microsoft, which is that's fair. Although I could be wrong here. This is not, don't take what I'm about to say as fact. But I believe that Nintendo is the only company that does not sell their hardware at a loss. I think both PlayStation and Xbox...
I feel like I've heard that in the past.
Yeah.
I think most consoles do end up becoming profitable, but early on they are selling them at pretty deep losses.
Yeah.
Because they're trying to get their install base up, and also like just the hardware is more expensive because they haven't had kind of time to figure out like, oh, we don't have to make this fancy and nice. We can simplify and make that more affordable.
Totally. But yeah, no, I think ultimately, yeah, I don't know. I just don't like exclusives. I wish there was a way around it, and I'm sure with time... Well, no, I'm not sure, but I hope with time there will be. Oh no, I didn't complete the objective? How far off was I? I wasn't even paying attention.
Yeah,
well, I wasn't even close. Whoa.
Like, something that I think I would actually almost like even more than just multi-platform, like all games, is just to have crossplay for anything that is multi-platform.
Yes, it's absurd. So I feel like that's another thing because I kind of forgot about this until recently, but like Fortnite is the reason we have crossplay anything, and I feel like they don't get their props for that enough. So I'm giving you your props, Fortnite. Thank you for literally forcing everyone to allow crossplay. And
now we can go back to giving them a hard time for just stealing ideas.
True. You should have just paid the Among Us people their license, Fortnite. That was very rude.
Or even like, I don't know, arrange a deal where you can get a skin that makes you look like the Among Us people.
Yeah, of course.
Which, if we're being totally honest, even Among Us is not that different from like the Gmod, like Trouble in Terrorist Town mod.
Yeah, it's certainly not like an original idea. I mean, it's basically just like Werewolf. It's like a party game, basically.
Yeah.
But
it's also like, we all know the only reason that Fortnite picked that up.
Yep. That is for sure. Also, I just want to Oh, go ahead.
And let's face it, the whole Battle Royale thing only got added because PUBG was so popular. Because Fortnite wasn't even a Battle Royale game to begin with.
Yeah. Yeah, that's... Fortnite definitely, makes its money primarily from theft, I would say. But, or at least they did, early on. And, I guess that's still in the DNA a little bit. So I want to respond to Constant Identity. Constant Identity said... This particular game doesn't look all that great, and I just want to say, it is. This game is really good. This is the best WRC game in many years, as far as I'm concerned. And if it doesn't look all that great, it's probably just because I'm not good at it. But it's super well done game. I mean, everything the last two games did well, this one does just as well with improvements, which is exactly what I like to see out of these annual, these annual type of, I guess this is a sports game. It's a motorsports game, but any game that comes out annually like this, it always runs the risk of, like, FIFA syndrome. It's just the exact same game over and over again. And I would say WRC 8 and 9 suffered from that. I would not say this one does. This one has tons of really great new content. It's probably worth the price of admission for me for the updated menu system alone, because the last couple games menus were terrible, very hard to navigate, and this one is just so much better, so much cleaner, so much more modern. But so yeah, I just needed to defend this game a little bit, because this is actually a great game. Maybe I'll stop doing like a boring snowy anniversary level. I've just been going through. So one of the things that's added with this game is, and what I have been playing thus far in the stream, are the 50th anniversary mode. So I've been playing exclusively in the 50th anniversary mode so far, and as you can see, there's all kinds of exciting classic rallies that you can race through here, all the way from 1973 up to just 2019. And that's just the 50th anniversary stuff, so that's not even what I would consider to be the main game. So yeah, just want to defend this a little bit, because yeah, I'm really, oftentimes on this stream, if I come across a game I really don't like, I'm usually really hard on it. So I always try to be equally as positive about games I do like, even though I'm bad at this and it is frustrating sometimes. It's frustrating because of my own abilities, not because of the way the game is made, which is a very important distinction, I would say.
Well,
I am playing on PC, as a matter of fact. Constant Identity. I am on PC currently.
I'll also mention graphically, I don't think it has quite the level of polish and fancy lighting and stuff that you'll find in like one of the dirt rally games.
Yeah.
But I think it makes up for, because having played a little bit of like the older WRC games, like either 8 or 9 back when we were actually still in the office. I think this focuses a whole lot more on like fairly serious simulation.
Yeah.
As opposed to being like the flashiest looking rally game.
Definitely.
Because the team management, the damage mechanics, the adjustability of the cars is all really in depth.
Yeah, really in depth, really well done. Also, so graphically, the first part of this stream, Constant Identity, so I'm a big fan of Dirt Rally 2.0 Constant Identity. I'm gonna have to strongly disagree with you there. It does not put this to shame in terms of simulation racing. Dirt Rally 2 is way more arcadey, and it's not even close. But graphically, I just want to get this out before I forget. I had to really take down a lot of the I was having some issues with the stream. Like, I'm playing on a 4K TV. I had to lower the resolution to 1080p. The frame rate is 30. Normally it would be at 60. Just for some reason the stream wasn't liking it. It was looking fine on my end, but it was not looking fine on the stream. So I lowered some stuff down to make the stream look smooth. So that might be a little bit of what you're seeing as well. But yeah, I mean, I just gotta strongly disagree with you about Dirt Rally 2.0. I wouldn't even say it necessarily looks better. At least with this game, running on real settings, which I would not consider these to be currently, because I had to downgrade them a bit for streaming purposes. But yeah, I would agree with MDP. For rally simulation, WRC is what you want. Now, Sometimes, though, I don't necessarily want to play a hardcore simulation, in which case I reach for Dirt Rally 2.0 because it is a little less intense. It's a little more arcadey, a little easier to just drop in and drop out, I would say, personally.
And that's not to say that Dirt Rally 2 is an arcade race. It's still
yes,
very much in the simulation vein of racing games. But yeah, I think WRC is a little bit, I guess, maybe more punishing.
Yeah, that's a great way. Is this what you're looking for? A constant identity? I mean, I'm sure there are several screens. I never ever mess with any of this on either game because it's.
He means the car settings.
Ah.
Setting up suspension, tires, things like that.
We can get. I'll pull that up after this race. You can check that out. But that is something that I personally don't mess with in any game because it's way above me. I just kind of want to race. I'm not a tinkerer like that. And yeah, just to be super clear, I think I was, but just to be even more clear, no shade towards Dirt Rally 2.0 at all. I love Dirt Rally 2.0. Easily one of my favorite racing games. But as far as Sims go, yeah, this one's much more punishing, and seems to be because of that reason, seems to be much more simmy. So I do equate level of punishment with how good of a simulation it is. Whether or not that's completely fair, that's just how I do it in my brain.
Well, and I mean, I don't know. I guess I don't know. No simulation is perfect. I mean, like, you'll have people go back and forth between like Forza and Gran Turismo talking about which is more realistic, and like, I think depending on the thing that you're talking about, it can go either way. I personally I feel like I've played Gran Turismo for ages, and something just kind of feels right about it, but
yeah. So I wanna go ahead. Sorry.
At least compared with like Forza, but I mean, I don't know. There are also things that Forza does really well that Gran Turismo doesn't. Like one of the things that I'm super impressed with Forza is how it handles like standing water and other kind of weather effect type stuff. But yeah.
Yeah, I think
basically boiling things down. Dirt Rally 2 and WRC are both really good rally simulations.
Yes.
And I think depending on like what you're looking for, yeah, it depends. Like each of them have things to offer.
Yeah, to be super clear, no shade towards Dirt Rally 2.0, no shade. If anybody prefers Dirt Rally 2.0, I would say in terms of pure enjoyment, I probably prefer Dirt Rally 2.0. But yeah, when I want to really frustrate myself in a good way, in a fun way, I throw on the old WRC.
So I actually wanted to address a question from earlier.
Yeah.
Oh, and also total FYI. I mean, well, yeah. So one of the other questions that I wanted to address, what Fortnite was before it was a battle royale game. It was like a tower. It was like a tower defense, like kind of wave-based game where like you built a fort with a whole bunch of defenses and you just fought off waves of these like monsters that come out of this like purple storm thing.
It was that save the world mode, right?
Yeah. It was still a third-person shooter, and you had all the crafting mechanics, but you just like it was a wave-based. Well, I guess actually kind of like zombies modes in the Call of Duty games.
Yeah, definitely. That's a good. Yeah, it's like zombies with building, with a building mechanic for sure.
And it was and you had to pay to buy. Like it wasn't a free to play game. And then PUBG got super popular, and then Fortnite whipped up its own version of it in their third-person shooter engine and stuff, complete with like the building mechanics, and made it completely free.
Yeah, and the rest is history.
Yeah.
I just want to point out the fact that I absolutely destroyed in this overall. That was just the last race of I think 5. We did the first 4 in the last stream, and yeah, I beat second place by over a minute, which I'm just gonna brush the shoulders off a little bit there, because I I am not good at this game, and it's about to only get harder. I know, but I cherish this moment. So Joel, there's one thing that we have to talk about, which is
it's Marvel stuff, isn't it?
We can go Marvel first. I was gonna go Star Wars. And ask, on a scale from 1 to 10, how stoked are you for the Knights of the Old Republic remake, and why is your answer 1 million?
Well, so I'm gonna be totally honest. I've actually never played Knights of the Old Republic.
Well, then your answer should be 2 million, because it's a remake of one of the best games ever made. I'm so stoked.
I was. When that happened, well, because I wasn't sure. I was like, okay, I know it's a Star Wars thing, but I don't know what it is until they like showed the logo and at the bottom said remake. I was like, wow, that's ambitious.
Yes, it is. Yeah, I couldn't. So you were the one who broke this news to me, and I immediately scrambled to go find the video, which I'm glad I did, because the video did feature the protagonist of Knights of the Old Republic, who is either known as Jedi Master Revan or Darth Revan, depending on which direction you want to go, and he is by far my favorite Force-wielding character in Star Wars lore, just because his story is so ridiculously well done in that game, and he's just super. I mean, they make him out to be just like the legend of all legends, which is just really great. I'm such a big fan. But man, I can't wait, and I am so happy that it's definitively coming to PC. I would have probably cried.
Well, and I was trying to reassure him that it's going to come to PC. It's like, this is not going to be a PlayStation exclusive. There's too much money to be made. Plus, LucasArts is not a Sony studio, and neither is like BioWare. Well, yeah, it's all like that's all. Because KOTOR is all under the EA umbrella, isn't it?
It would be nowadays, I think, probably. But initially, I don't know if it would have been. Because EA, I mean, BioWare was its own studio for the longest time, right? Or no? Were they always EA?
I think they've been with EA for a while.
Okay.
Because all the Mass Effect games are BioWare, right?
Yep.
And those were all published by EA.
But those were after. But probably similar, around the same time. So yeah, I guess it probably was EA, but they are doing the timed exclusive though, which is like that way less annoying than an exclusive, but still kind of annoying.
Yeah, but they've been doing this for ages, and timed exclusives are never more than like about a month.
Well, so that was the case until here's the thing that I'm worried about. I think you're likely very correct. Wait a minute, is the stream frozen? Oh, hold on. let Let me do a little refresh here. Make sure we're still looking good.
No, it seems to be fine.
Okay, good. Good.
Move around on your couch.
Yeah, we're good.
Yeah,
We're good.
Yeah, I think it's fine.
Cool. Okay. Yeah, so for the longest time, timed exclusives were always just like a couple weeks until I think it was the last Call of Duty, they basically gated an entire mode for a year, which I thought was insane. It's like they released the game but without this mode for an entire year. Which I don't like at all. But that's what they did, and I hope that that's not a harbinger of things to come. But we will see, I guess.
I don't think it is. And also, like, I think EA, like, this is going to be a little weird to say, I think EA likes money more than Activision does, and so I don't think they're going to do something like that.
You know what? I don't think that's even 1% weird. I am so totally in agreement with you there. So actually, that just quelled a lot of my fears. Thank you, because you're so right. You're so right. EA is not Activision, and EA is like Mr. Krabs on crack when it comes to money. So you are 100% correct. Money.
Oh, MD Productions commented like Activision is in some mess right now, and
yeah, true.
They totally are.
Yes.
It's a different kind of evil.
Yeah. Oh man. It would be.
Boy, it's just like what is it about video game publishers being so crummy?
I think it's
like
less exclusive to video game publishers and more exclusive to just gigantic corporations of any kind, I would guess.
You might be right.
But it does seem that video game publishers have a very, very big problem though that they need to come to grips with.
Well, and I just saw on Kotaku recently an article about NBA 2K 2021?
22 is the new one.
Okay, 22. Holy crap. I actually don't think there is a video game genre and subsequently fans of a video game genre that have been more abused than fans of basketball video games.
Oh man, I don't know. Maybe fans of soccer video games, but continue your point though.
Maybe, but I don't. Well, so here's the thing. One of the new things that has been added to NBA 2K 2022 is Jake from State Farm.
Yeah.
And I just can't. It's like how can anyone put up with spending 60?
Joel got so angry he muted himself. I don't know if you can hear me, Joel, but we can no longer hear you.
Sorry, I accidentally unplugged my headphones.
That's
I don't
great.
understand how anyone. Yeah, EA found, or no, 2K found me.
Yeah.
To cut me off.
The 2K snipers leering outside the window.
I don't know how anybody can tolerate spending $60 on a video game and then basically suffering through so many ads just smushed into it.
Yeah, that's fair.
Like almost completely unavoidable.
Yeah, they are. I mean, I will very, very slightly defend it and say that from what I've seen, they have added some, in my opinion, pretty cool things to the there's like this like city park mode where like you can now like skateboard around it now, and it's a pretty cool just kind of virtual space to hang out, it seems like. And this I'm not defending, but I will bring up, you know, what they always claim is, you know, you're paying for the roster updates, you're paying for the slight graphical updates, which, again, I won't defend. I think that's insane. If they wanted to do that, just release the roster updates for as DLC.
They just... Because they clearly inked a very lucrative deal with State Farm Insurance to cram their corporate mascot in there for you to interact with. When, like, I just want to play basketball, I don't care about insurance.
Yeah.
I play games to not think about insurance.
Yeah, if it was, like, if there were more to it other than that, I would think it was a cool and funny addition in the vein of, like... Because I think back to, like, when Tony Hawk put, like, wild characters in the game, everybody loved it, right? It wasn't like, this is product placement. It was, haha, this is funny. It's like, and I'm now forgetting who those characters were. I don't think it was Ronald McDonald, but it was, like, there were characters like that. You know, that was funny, but that only worked because the Tony Hawk games offered all new things every game. They were like actually new games, whereas 2K22 is not actually a new game, I would argue. Like the updated FIFAs aren't actually new games. They are recycled versions of old games. Iron Man and Spider-Man. There you go. Wow, that was... Like, they were way ahead of the curve.
And Spider-Man was in there because the same developers had the license for Spider-Man and did the Spider-Man video games for PS1 and PS2.
Oh, there you go. I didn't know that.
But also, they're not they're superheroes. They're not car insurance mascots.
True. I mean, you're right, but I think in... It's like, I agree with you, but I don't. Only for the fact that in this meme culture that we live in, Jake from State Farm might as well be a superhero. Like, he's not just a State Farm mascot. He is a character. Just in terms of the world we live in. But like, you're not wrong though. Like, and I don't disagree, and I don't even know why I'm defending this to the extent that I am. But like, I guess I can see. I could see some little kid, and I say little kid, there's probably you know, let me retract that, but like, I could see some, like, 14-year-old kid booting up 2K2022 and being kind of stoked that they could play as Jake from State Farm, just because it's funny, it's a meme, but that player might not necessarily understand the implications of, like, no, it's a soulless brand deal, but... I don't know. I guess I go back. I see both sides. Also, thank you, Jonas, and welcome.
Yeah, because this is the other thing. It's like, this is the same publisher and series that tried to put unskippable ads in the game.
Yeah, that's a tough look.
Full price game, and
that's a tough look.
And lots of microtransactions, and like, it's already stuffed full of advertising and stuff.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, like, racing games are full of corporate ads and stuff because, well, I mean, the cars are sponsored and stuff. But but even like, that is a little bit more organic because a lot of those brands and stuff are just like part of cars. Like, they make parts and things for cars, and so it's just kind of...
Right, it's like, what does State Farm have to do
insurance.
With... Yeah. No, I totally get that. Joel,
It's not like licensed basketball shoes and things.
Yeah, which I think would be... They should have done... If it was like... I mean, I guess Nike doesn't really have, like, a mascot in the way that Jake from State Farm is, but if they did, I think that would be great. Like, that would be fine, no issues. I have to plug in my headset real quick, Joel. I might lose you. Give me 1 second.
Okay.
All right, here we go. Yeah, like, if they put Virgil Abloh in 2K 2020, I think that'd be great. Also, I want to shout out Lombardi. Welcome. And yeah, the other problem is FIFA and NBA. Yeah, I mean, I would say almost because NHL's really bad too. It's like they're all just money grabs. Like they all should be better, but unfortunately, they are not.
And like, and this is a broader thing. This isn't specifically like NBA, but I guess it kind of Well, I guess they do it because they know they can.
Yeah. Yep.
It seems like the annual updates, like the annual game releases, is like, why are these not just annual like expansion packs or DLC?
Right.
Like, why isn't there just like a really good core game that they keep building on for the next like 5 or 6 years? And
right.
Then like when they are ready, they release a whole new thing with even bigger features and functions and whatever.
I totally agree. And the answer is what you already said, is because why would they do that when they know people will buy a full price game every year?
Yeah, which is like, hey, we can get another $60 every year as opposed to
another 10.
Like,
yeah.
20, yeah, $10 or $20 for like just the roster update, which is really all it should be.
Yep. Yep, 100%. And I will say, I was a part of that flawed system. I used to get the NHL game every year, and I finally stopped, and I have not gotten an NHL game in many years, thankfully. But yeah, it's an issue.
That's something else that I'm really surprised at, is that, I mean, I can kind of get how it would happen every now and then, where you would kind of get like just one game for like each sporting series primarily. You've got Madden for football, you've got the NHL series for hockey, you've got NBA 2K for basketball, you got FIFA for soccer. But I am genuinely kind of surprised that there hasn't been more efforts from other publishers to try and break into that market.
Right. There was... So for NBA, there was for a bit, I believe. Because I think it was NBA Live or something?
Yeah, and
Could be misremembering.
I want to say it was the EA series, but...
No, I think you're right.
I think they ran into a lot of issues or something with development, and they kind of abandoned it.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. Whoa! That's a restart.
But it just feels like there's got to be... There's got to be enough, like, frustration and demand for, like, something else.
I just think probably the issue at this point now is who has the money to pay for an NBA license. It's like, it's got to be so expensive. And then for sports like NHL, which aren't quite as big as NBA, it's like, is it even worth it? Is there enough demand? It's like, I'm not sure. Maybe. I mean, I personally would love to see some competition for NHL games, but like, also, I don't know if I'd be so excited it would be a guaranteed buy from me. So it's, I don't know. It's a tough situation.
But I'm just surprised that a company like Activision isn't like trying to break into the soccer market, like try to come up with a FIFA competitor.
Yeah.
Or an NFL competitor. Although to be honest, part of me would kind of feel like basketball might actually be one of the better opportunities for creating a competitor, just because I feel like it could be more accessible to more people.
Yeah, I would agree.
As opposed, because I mean, I am not sports savvy. I'm gonna level with all you right now. But like, if you have me pick up a Madden game, like, I will basically just like take the coach advice for every single play and just kind of push the sticks in the direction that I think I should maybe go and press the buttons. Like, I just kind of hope and pray.
Yep.
Because I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And surprisingly, I remember this time in college that I was playing one of the NCAA football games with a friend of mine who actually, like, actually knew how to play it, and I was kind of kicking his butt.
That's awesome.
Just like he was getting really angry. He was getting really upset. He's like, how are you beating me so badly? Like, you don't know what you're doing. Like, you're right.
That's the secret.
But yeah, I don't know. I mean, heck, we've got a bunch of racing simulation games.
Yes, we do.
And they all kind of coexist.
Yeah,
Like, it's surprising that there's nobody that's been able to kind of topple the big sporting franchises.
Yeah, I almost wonder if it's because they're too big now. Because it's like racing is big, but it's like it's very compartmentalized. It's like WRC is its own thing, NASCAR's its own thing, F1's its own thing. It's yeah, that's very interesting. So I wonder if maybe the move is like, don't make an NBA game, or don't try to put like the college players in Madden. Just make a college football game, only college football. Something like that. Maybe that's how they get around this problem. But
well, I mean, EA does that because you've got Madden for NFL, and then you've got the NCAA.
You're right. They do. But it's still EA.
Well,
loosen your grip, EA.
I could even see the potential for a more arcade-like, games in those veins.
Yes.
Because there were like very stylized basketball video games, like from the like 90s arcade games, but also even like in the 2000s. Wasn't one of them like called NBA Streetwise or something?
Yes.
And I think the GameCube one actually had Mario, Luigi, and Peach as special playable characters.
Oh, it's the best. That is the best. No, I totally... The NBA Street, NHL Hits, NFL Blitz, all of that stuff needs to come back.
Yeah.
Those were so much fun. It's insane that like those games aren't still around anymore. Well, there aren't like approximations of them anymore.
Yeah, I don't know. I just kind of like look at that segment of video games and I'm just like, boy, it's such an abused and also clearly lucrative market that, like, how is there not somebody that's been able to get in there and be like, hey, we're not going to vacuum out your wallet every single year.
Right.
Just take a little bit and offer you a much better experience.
Yeah. Yeah, I wonder if it'll happen sometime in the next 10 years. And Lombardi obviously correctly says they can't do that because of licenses, but licenses eventually expire, which I think is what we're saying is like all it takes is money. All any of this takes is money. And
understandably, it takes a lot of money.
Yes.
But there are publishers that have a lot of money.
Yeah, right. Yep. But unfortunately EA probably has the most.
Yeah, well, but also clearly, like, there's a lot of people that, like, it's a lucrative enough thing that it could be worth someone's while.
Yeah. Yeah. I just wish, like... It's like... Here's what frustrates me, and this is gonna be a stupid take, FYI, stupid take alert. But, what frustrates me is you see all these billionaires just throwing their money around on the stupidest things in the world. Like, Elon Musk could make the greatest sports game company that existed. Like, and he wouldn't even notice how much money it took him. But it's just like not... Why would he do that, right? Like, I understand that, like, there's no reason for any eccentric billionaire to just decide they're really into video game production all of a sudden. But in my mind,
also,
Go ahead.
Also, that's like one of the most first world problem kind of things. Like,
yes.
Oh man, can you imagine if this billionaire made a good video game?
Right. No, you're so right. Which is
to, like, I don't know, solve world hunger and come up with better vaccines and things like that.
You're so right, which is why it's a stupid take. But the only reason I say that is because every billionaire uses their money on such asinine things to begin with. It might as well be something that I enjoy.
Yeah, no, I totally get that, though. Yeah.
But no, you're so right. But yeah, I often think about, like, man, if I was an eccentric billionaire, I would just, like, probably upend the video game industry. Why not? It seems like it would be a fun thing to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's better than so many things that billionaires spend money
Yes,
on.
yes, so many.
Like multiple houses with 30 rooms that you never use.
Yeah.
Ever.
Yeah. Yeah, why park your money in mansions you're never going to live in? Park your money in an office building that employs a bunch of really creative video game developers. No! Oh, I was doing okay. That's a bummer. That's a restart.
3, 2, 1.
Ah, there it is. Yeah, I'm just getting the delay. When I saw you coming up on that corner, I was like, oh, it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. There it is.
Yeah, it's a tough one. These nighttime races are tough.
Boy, so actually, because I actually don't have any of the WRC games, but I've been playing the Dirt Rally 2 game. The night stages are so stressful for me.
Yes.
Especially because the thing that's the most stressful is if I hit something, like I don't even care if like I damage a wheel or suspension or something. If I lose my lights, it's game over.
Yep.
It's like it's the most precious thing on the car.
Yep.
It's in such a vulnerable position.
Yeah, 100%. Okay, here we go. That's good news. Oh, don't do it again. All right. Oh, this is the same one I just did. I just realized that. Just at nighttime this time. And I feel like I crushed it on the last one, so we'll probably be fine. Maybe it's not the exact same one.
Yeah, anytime I crash on a night stage, I'm like, take whatever you want, just leave me the lights.
You're right. Hobble across the finish line with 3 wheels, but don't take my lights.
Yep. At least I can see where I was going. Ooh, I like the light effect on the orange, like plastic.
Yeah.
Rope divider things.
Yeah.
I don't know what do you call those?
Yeah, I don't know, but I weirdly know exactly what you're talking about by that description. Fence? Just like plastic fencing?
I guess.
Orange fencing?
Like, because sometimes I have a brain fart and I just forget what the word is.
Yeah,
but,
oh yeah.
But, like, I know that there's a word for it, but in this case I'm like, wait, I don't even know if there's a word for it.
Yeah, I'd probably just call it,
because
like,
it's not
fencing.
a sign, because it doesn't have anything, I mean, yeah, I guess plastic fencing is as good as you're gonna get. The chat love. I am not familiar with car X drifting, Lombardi. That's a new one to me. I haven't looked into that.
Yeah, same. Similar kind of game, it sounds like, to your WRCs and your dirts. So what I really loved, I loved V Rally 4. Huge fan. That was very arcadey though. That was by no stretch of the imagination a sim at all. But I really loved it.
Well, I know that we've talked about this in the past, but I really wish that there were a few more kind of arcadey racing games out there.
Yes.
Because they just seem to have kind of vanished.
Yeah.
And I don't know why. I mean,
yeah.
I like simulation games. I like to play them, but I like to play other racing games too.
Yeah, totally. It's like, you don't always want to... It's like, whenever I pick up, like, WRC or Dirt Rally, it's like, I know, like, I'm preparing myself to, like, borderline work up a sweat, probably. Which you don't always want to do when you're just sitting down to play a game. Thank you for the follow, Snow Plus Potato? Did I read that right?
Yeah.
But thank you. That's great.
That's what it says.
Thank you for the follow. Oh, it's on mobile? I'll grab it right now. Let's see.
Because I mean, even like military shooters, like you've got a spectrum of like arcadey to realistic. Like you've got like Call of Duty to Arma.
I'm downloading Car X Drift Racing 2 right now. It is free on the App Store. That's good stuff.
Well, look at that. Well, would you look at that?
Well, would you look at that? God, that's a classic video that I kind of forgot about until just that moment. I will never forget that reference, though. Well, would you just look at that? Oh man. They're also making a Need for Speed style game. You know, I don't. The last Need for Speed was fine, but it didn't blow my mind, let's say. I never quite clicked with the drifting mechanic, and I think that was just the main problem. It's just...
Yeah, the drifting was a little funny in it.
Yeah.
I think... So the customization and modification system in it was significantly improved over Need for Speed Payback, but I think I preferred the driving physics in Need for Speed Payback significantly more than Need for Speed Heat.
Yeah, that actually makes sense.
And one of the other things that really frustrated me in Need for Speed Heat was the cops were like way too aggro.
Yeah. They're like Agent Smith from The Matrix chasing you down.
That is exactly it. It's like, that you nailed it. 100%. It's like if you ever got, I don't think I ever escaped a pursuit above like a level 2 Heat. Because it was like once you got over that, it was just insane. Impossible to lose them. They just kept coming. Like you could not get away from them. And there were so many. It was just like, you're absolutely right. It just went Agent Smith on your tail.
Man, yeah, I remember that being very frustrating for me as well.
I'm coming for you, Mr. Anderson.
Oh man, I am. There isn't a word to describe how excited I am for the new Matrix movie. I know it's very likely that it could be disappointing, but man, I hope it's not.
So I'm gonna be honest. When I was a kid, well, I mean, like, kind of like 12, 13 or so, I watched The Matrix.
Mm-hmm.
It kind of freaked me the heck out.
That's fair. Yeah, that's very fair.
And it kind of screwed me up for a few weeks. So I'm actually not a huge fan.
Wow. Okay, so it's like a pseudo horror movie almost, which I guess I see that.
And some of that I think was a combination of, at the time, because I've got an anxiety disorder, and didn't really get that treated or diagnosed until only like 5 years ago or so.
Yeah, that's a classic story.
So I think there's a combination of aspects of that combined with some of the ideas of The Matrix that kind of screwed me up big time. Totally.
I totally understand that. Yeah, so on the extreme flip side, The Matrix is my favorite movie of all time ever. So, I love it. I loved it. Oh, thank you for the follow, Lombardi. Yeah, I could not be more. I mean, I completely dove in. I love the movies. I love the video game tie-ins. I love the Animatrix. So this coming back is just it's the exact intersection of like things I love. I'm very stoked.
Yeah, I have not watched the original since that one time.
Wow. Did you ever see the sequels?
No, I never saw the sequels.
Wow, okay.
Which I've heard is not something that I've really missed out on.
Yeah, I think a lot of, myself included, I think a lot of people are coming around on they aged very well. I think it was just tough for them at the time because it's like you're comparing them so closely to like what I would consider to be a masterpiece of film. And it's like, how are you ever going to live up to that, right? It's like, well, we know people love this first one, so we got to do... I mean, they didn't have to, but like they felt like they had to do some of the similar things to the first one, and then yada, 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 you know, woe is me, they're making millions of dollars, so who cares really? But all that is to say, the sequels are much better than I think a lot of people remember, particularly the second one. The second one, I would say, is very good. The third one's good. It's not great, but it's good. It's fine. It's a serviceable ending to the trilogy, I would say. But the second one is very good. Much better than people remember, I would argue. But the first one's an absolute masterpiece, I would say. But I also totally understand how it would be quite anxiety-inducing for a 13-year-old or even a grown adult. I mean, it's like, if you really think about... I mean, I know simulation theory's making a strong comeback nowadays. And if you really think about it, it's like, yeah, maybe. Who am I to say no? That's impossible.
Well,
like,
and that's kind of what screwed me up.
Yeah, right. I totally get it.
Now, granted, if you think about it a little bit farther, it does kind of fall apart. But
man, I don't know. I'm pretty strong on the simulation theory nowadays.
You've been hanging around Elon Musk folks too long.
I don't know, man. So it has nothing to do with his. So here's my take. It's like, how many supposedly once in a lifetime things is our generation supposedly just miraculous out of the infinite vastness of time and space? We just happen to be on the one planet at the one time when all of these things with like the one. I just don't buy it. I just feel like I would not be shocked if it was a simulation for our benefit. I'm not saying it is, but I would not be shocked at all. At all. I would be like, yep, that tracks. Just seems like too many coincidences. For, you know, supposedly there's this vast history of time, which we can never really know what exists outside of our own here and now. So it's like, maybe all that stuff really happened. Maybe it's part of a vast backstory for a simulation. I don't know. But regardless of if that were to be true or not, I'm 100% sure it would not be Matrix style, where we'd be like harvested in like valleys.
Yeah.
But hey, there's another win. Let's go.
I think that's the other part that kind of creeped me out too. That it was like, this, I don't like this.
Yeah. Oh, let me.
Maybe one day I'll revisit it. I don't know.
It is. I mean, it's so good. It really is. But it is definitely. I do think that it is a big part of why I like it so much. Is kind of similar. Is like that. It is kind of a bit philosophical, or at least more philosophical than most AAA blockbuster movies tend to be, I would say.
Yeah.
It's which I do kind of like that. Especially, it's like I would almost prefer, I don't know, man, like the world's so crazy, and it's like I would almost feel better if it was like nope, it's cool, like none of this is really real and it's all part of the plan. It's like, okay, whatever. Like I guess that makes as much sense as anything else. But it's like it's almost a weird like comfort there, but I feel like I shouldn't start this next rally because we're right at the end of the stream here. But I'm not upset about the performance today. I did way better today than I did last time. So here's the car setup, by the way. I think Lombardi was asking to see this. So what we can do for the last 5 minutes here. So
I think it might have actually been Constant Identity.
You are right. You're right. I think it was Constant Identity. Yeah, and I totally forgot. But
actually, I don't even know if Constant Identity is still on here.
Yeah, they might have left. But here we go, and then there are obviously many different cars, all with very different feels.
Yeah, so you can set gear ratios and spring rates and
I feel like pretty classic
rebound
stuff.
and compression on shocks and all that stuff.
Yeah, well, I guess we'll just call it a couple minutes early here. Joel, do you have any final thoughts?
Not especially.
Okay, that's fair.
I mean, I'm super excited for Gran Turismo 7.
Yes. When do you happen to remember the release date offhand? It is next year, March?
March 4th.
4th. I was going to guess 24th. March 4th.
Honestly, I was kind of bracing myself for like holiday 2022. So I'm pretty excited that March 4th is the target date.
Yeah, and I would be slightly worried that it's going to get pushed back. I feel like that's right in the mushy middle area where it seems maybe close enough to where they wouldn't have to push it back, but just maybe far enough to where they might have misjudged some things. But
yeah, and Polyphony Digital being who they are, it will probably be delayed one more time at least. Yeah, it's what they do. But if you, like me, had been a fan of Gran Turismo for over a decade, you're used to this at this point, and it's just part of the cycle. It's like it'll be delayed, but it'll eventually come out, and it'll still eventually be fun. It may also still be flawed. I've got high hopes for this one, though. That I think it's going to be possibly the most solid Gran Turismo game since GT4. I won't say better than GT4 because GT4 was a high watermark that I don't know that they will ever be able to top.
Yeah.
As far as like a complete game, because that game was incredible. What it offered. Even if now the physics feel very wonky compared with much more modern titles, but yeah. I don't know if GT4 will ever quite be surpassed as one entire game package for the series, but I've got high hopes that this will be a very good one and potentially better than like GT5 and GT6.
Nice. Well, there you go. I share those high hopes. I hope that is true. I guess that's going to do it for the stream today. Thank you for watching, everyone. Thanks for all the new follows today. I hope you enjoyed the discussion. This might have been our most car-centric discussion maybe ever on this stream, which
it has been in a while.
Yeah.
And actually, I'm kind of shocked we never did talk about the Marvel PlayStation.
I know.
You want to try and squeeze that in a minute?
I mean, I'm excited. I hope that they are building their own Marvel universe. I will be upset if it never comes to PC. Those are my thoughts.
Well, I would say don't count on it, but Horizon is coming to PC and Uncharted is coming to PC.
Yeah.
So maybe 5 years from now it might happen.
I'm fine with that. I have at least 5 years worth of backlog to video games to play. So I am not worried about it. As long as it makes its way over there at some point, I think that's great.
I just can't believe how much Insomniac announced that they're working on.
Yeah.
Because that's no small feat to both be working on Spider-Man 2 and a ground-up Wolverine game.
And on top of that, they didn't announce it, but it's been the heavy rumor that they're working on either a prototype remaster or a new prototype game. Which That's Insomniac, right? Or am I
No.
thinking of? Then what is the Insomniac one? Not Prototype. What is it?
I think you're confused. I think what you have done is you have confused Insomniac with Sucker Punch and Prototype with Infamous.
Probably.
Which I would be super stoked for a new Infamous game from Sucker Punch.
Who does Prototype?
Prototype, gosh, that was some other developer, because that was a multi-platform game. Doing a quick Google here.
Yeah.
Developed by Radical Entertainment and published by Activision.
Wow. Yeah. So I can't believe I've done this.
So I think you were thinking of Infamous, and Infamous
Yep.
was developed by Sucker Punch.
Yep. That probably is. That probably is. Man, I wonder why. I could have sworn that was by the old Spider-Man people.
I'm gonna be totally honest. In the Spider-Man 2 trailer that they showed, when I saw like the electrical stuff on the telephone poles, I was like, oh, "Is there gonna be a new Infamous?" And I was then kind of disappointed when I saw the Spider-Man.
Oh wow! I don't know if I could ever be disappointed in a Spider-Man logo.
Yeah, but you're all into superheroes and stuff.
Yeah, true.
And I love the Infamous games. I'd actually be even more excited if they did a new Sly Cooper game. But
oh yeah.
But that torch got handed off to Sanzaru Games, which I think they did a good job with Sly 4. Haven't heard really anything from them in a while, so I don't know what's going to happen there. But anyway.
Yeah. Well, I looked up. Insomniac does Spyro, which I love. So make a new Spyro game, Insomniac, as well.
Hang on.
Oh god.
They don't do it anymore.
Oh god.
Spyro is owned by the IP was owned by Universal. And that's owned by and Crash Bandicoot, they're both owned by Activision. The Spyro remaster
Toys for Bob
was done by
Yep.
Insomniac developed the original Spyro games way back when. But they lost that IP, and that's when they started doing Ratchet and Clank.
That makes so much sense.
And I sure hope that there is another Ratchet and Clank game somewhere off in the future, that it's not all just Marvel stuff.
Yeah, I hope bring back whimsical 3D platformers. That's what I say.
Yeah, the time is now for a new Jak and Daxter game from Naughty Dog.
Yep, absolutely.
People would eat that up, I think, or at least like younger millennials like me.
yeah, for sure. Well, anyways, we got to wrap this up because my dog is begging me to go outside before it starts storming. So thank you for watching, everyone. This has been the Autoblog live stream. We do this every Tuesday from 2 o'clock to 4 o'clock Eastern Time. If you have never been to Autoblog.com, check out the website if you are into anything car-related. We have all kinds of automotive news and reviews. We're also all over social media. We got Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, all that good stuff. We have a podcast called the Autoblog Podcast. Pretty easy to find. You can find that anywhere where podcasts are. Obviously, if you're watching this, you know that we are streaming to at least Twitch. Looks like most people are on Twitch today, but we also stream on our YouTube channel as well. So whatever you are more comfortable with, Twitch or YouTube, check us out there. We also have tons of great videos on the YouTube. Way more than video game content, obviously. Tons of great automotive videos there. So check that out. We have a merch store at redbubble.com/people/autoblog, or you can just search for Autoblog on redbubble.com, or you can click the link in our Twitch bio. We got all kinds of stuff. We finally have baseball hats, which is very exciting with the Autoblog logo. We have a face mask. We got jigsaw puzzles. We got throw pillows. We have all kinds of good stuff on the merch store. So check that out if you are interested. And then last but not least, I always like to end these by saying consider if you have a nonprofit organization or just some kind of good cause that you support, consider either donating some money or some time to that cause this month. A lot of times it's a lot easier than you might think to volunteer for places, even remotely. Just shoot them an email and say, hey, I like what you do. How can I help? And they will probably give you something to do. But I always like to say that because if everybody who heard me say these words actually did it every month, then that becomes a big deal. So consider doing that. Find a cause that does good things for the world and contribute, please. So thanks for watching, and we will see you guys next week, Tuesday at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. And thank you for joining, Joel. I don't know if I said that, but I appreciate it. It was a great one today. But
well, you should be thanking me.
Absolutely. Oh man, well thanks for watching, everyone, and we will see you next Tuesday at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. Adios.